Hi there, my name is Nick. I'm a pianist and music researcher based in Perth, Western Australia. Welcome to my YouTube channel. A little about me. I love the piano and everything related to it. As a pianist, I enjoy performing in every possible context. As soloist in my own recitals, as accompanist with singers and instrumentalists, playing with opera companies, choirs, churches, and more. When I'm at home, I love learning and studying new pieces, exploring music through listening and sight reading, practicing my technical skills, improvising, composing if I have time, and, of course, like every musician, I love to teach music as well. Though I enjoy exploring all styles of music, I'm most passionate about music of the 19th century. Composers like Liszt, Chopin, Schumann, and their lesser-known contemporaries. I love to play the pianos of their time as well. They've actually changed a lot since those days. Indeed, along with playing the modern piano like this one, I specialise in playing historic pianos, particularly those of the 19th century. So, that's me. In my opinion, classical music is too often presented without any explanation. People get up on stage, play their piece, and walk off again. To me, this is a shame, because the stories behind the music, the historical context, the personalities of composers and performers are always just as interesting as the music itself. And some explanation can also help to make the music more accessible to those who aren't already in the know. I've always liked to preface my performances with a little bit of talking, and so I wanted to make a YouTube channel centered around this idea. Talking and playing, sharing my passion for 19th century music. Along with playing and listening to music, I also love researching music history. I hold a PhD in music from Edith Cowan University here in Perth and have presented my research at conferences around the world. My passion, as both musician and researcher, is for music of the 19th century. I love learning about the culture, the personalities, the instruments, the ways of thinking about music, but more than anything else, I'm fascinated by how music was played in the 19th century, what we call the performance practices of that era. As with all things, musical performance has changed a lot since the 19th century. We know this because, apart from the mountain of books, treatises, scores, and other written sources from the time, there exists an enormous wealth of recordings of musicians who lived, trained, and rose to fame during the 19th century. These recordings give us, so to speak, tangible living evidence of what music in that time actually sounded like, and how things have changed since then. Early recordings demonstrate that 19th century performers routinely explored a whole host of practices that, for the most part, are discouraged in classical music circles today. Over the course of the 20th century, certain of these practices came to be seen as old-fashioned and were slowly abandoned, as new fashions came and went. Fair enough. But putting the practices themselves to one side, to me, the biggest lesson from these early sound recordings is what they tell us about the spirit of performance in the past, and how this spirit has changed over the past 100 years. At the heart of the 19th century approach to performance was creativity. It was about opening up interpretive possibilities, giving performers license to feel and respond to music in their own way, and celebrating the wonderful diversity of different personalities and approaches. Not to say that classical performers today aren't creative, far from it, but I personally find a lot of inspiration in studying the great performers of the past, and find it fascinating how the assumptions around musical performance and interpretation today are generally quite different from those that were practiced during the era when much of our favourite classical music was written. As many today worry about the decline of classical music as an industry, I wonder if we might be able to reinvigorate this art form by looking back to the great performers of the past and reviving a spirit of performing that put creativity first. I believe that becoming aware of the historical context that surrounds the music of the 19th century can help us to better understand the music itself and help to inspire the next generation of musicians to find new ways of expressing themselves through their music. Videos on this channel will feature talking and playing. Talking about 19th century music and its culture, and offering my own performances inspired by my research. Even if you aren't a musician yourself, but simply enjoy listening, I think that learning about the background to the music and its performance can help you to better appreciate it as a listener. And with a view to keeping these ideas accessible to a broad audience, I don't want you to need a PhD in musicology to understand my videos. Topics discussed will include the lives and works of musicians from the past, the history of the piano itself with videos featuring particular historical instruments, exploring their stories and unique sounds, ideas, practices and issues related to performance and how these things have changed over time, and the historical sources themselves, both writings and recordings, as well as important books and the latest research on these topics. If any of this sounds interesting to you, and you'd like to learn more about the world of music during the 19th century, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.